So if you have acne, chances are you're a very sensitive person. And if you're a sensitive person, you can have more difficulty sleeping than people that are not as sensitive. I know this personally, sleep is something that I've struggled with for most of my life, but today I am going to teach you how, as an acne patient, you may be more prone to sleep issues and what you can do about this so you can maximize your beauty sleep and maximize your beauty. But first, before I dig in, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. If you have any questions at all, pop them in the comments section below. So I'm Dr. Stacy Shillington. I'm a naturopathic doctor. For the past 14 years, I've been helping my patients heal their acne safely, naturally, and permanently by balancing their bodies from the inside out. And a huge part of balancing our body, optimizing our health and our beauty, is getting enough beauty sleep. And it's called beauty sleep for a reason, because it is during this time that our cells regenerate and that inflammation is quenched. And both of those things are incredibly important to the skin. So for many, many years, I was a chronic insomniac from my late 20s until my early 40s, which is a really, really long time. I missed out on so much great sleep, but you know, I was under a tremendous amount of emotional stress. I was also going back to school to become a doctor. I was starting my family. There was a lot going on for me. And I'm a very, very sensitive person. So things really affect my nervous system far more than other people. And I know many of my acne patients are similar. They have very sensitive nervous systems, and because I've been seeing thousands of patients for over the last 14 years, I know if you have acne, you may be very sensitive. Your nervous system may be very sensitive as well. So what happens when we are overly sensitive and we are exposed to chronic stress? This is pretty much, you know, a worst case scenario. This is you have to become hyper vigilant and really make this a priority in your life, solving this issue. So we are not meant to be in a state of chronic stress. When this happens, we are in our sympathetic nervous system. When we're in our sympathetic nervous system, our adrenal glands secrete norepinephrine and cortisol. And if they do this long enough, our adrenal glands become very fatigued, and that can cause the expression of additional androgens, specifically DHEAS. So there's a direct link between adrenal fatigue and acne, and not many people know about this link, but it all comes from being very sensitive and being exposed to chronic stress. And when our cortisol levels are dysregulated, what happens is that instead of getting our cortisol spikes in the beginning of the day, we get cortisol spikes at the end of the day. And when you have a lot of cortisol in your body, you are not going to sleep. And you know, for many years when I couldn't sleep, everybody would say, it's in your head, change your mindset. You know, like you can sleep, you're making this happen to yourself. But no, it was my cortisol levels, and they were too high, too late in the day. And in fact, even now, it takes the adrenal glands a while to heal. And you may experience this if you're up at night and say it's 9 p.m. and you're feeling really, really sleepy. But then you do something and you're wide awake. You get that second wind. That's that cortisol rush, the cortisol going through your body, and that is going to keep you up. So one of the strategies to really get a good night's sleep is to be sure you get in bed before that cortisol spike. But I'm getting ahead of myself because I want to go through the root causes of insomnia for acne patients and people with sensitive nervous systems in a more organized way. But my brain goes off in different tangents all the time. Okay, so let's talk about, first of all, not relaxing, but healing our nervous systems. You know, taking care of our nervous systems so that they are not so sensitive and not so reactive. And one of the ways to do this is to stimulate a nerve in our body called the vagus nerve. When we stimulate this nerve, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite to the sympathetic nervous system in that it elicits resting. It helps our body to rest and digest, and this is the only time that our body can heal. When we are in our sympathetic nervous system, that's when we're activated and we're stressed out. Our bodies cannot heal. So stimulating the vagus nerve is one of the best ways to relax. And I'm going to give you two really great ways to do that. The vagus nerve responds to deep breathing. And this is why meditation is such a fantastic tool. If you're a sensitive person, deep inhales and deep exhales are all that is needed for a period of 10 to 15 minutes to transition from your sympathetic nervous system to your parasympathetic nervous system. This is more effective than any supplement, any herb out there. Deep breathing. The other strategy that you may be familiar with is hydrotherapy, and that's using cold water in your shower first thing in the morning, because the cold water is hitting the back of your neck. That's where the vagus nerve resides, and it's going to shock and wake up your vagus nerve. And that actually, even though it feels like a stressful event, it actually puts you into a parasympathetic nervous system state. If any of you are fans of Wim Hof, you know he loves cold water therapy, and people that practice his techniques actually have stress reduction. So that is why that's happening. So stimulating the vagus nerve is incredibly important to transition from sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. The other thing is to nourish and heal the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are tired because they've been excreting cortisol, they've been excreting norepinephrine for a prolonged period of time. We need to give them rest. There's one thing the adrenal glands love more than anything else, and that's a schedule. They love going to bed at the same time, they love waking up at the same time, and they love regular meal times. And this is a super, super simple strategy that you can put in effect to help heal your adrenal glands. And one of cortisol's roles is to balance your blood sugar. And when your cortisol is dysregulated due to adrenal fatigue, your body can't do this. And this is when hypoglycemia or any type of insulin dysregulation happens. So manually regulating your blood sugar. I talk a lot about this in my 7-week Clear Skin program. I teach my patients how to do this. It's so critical if you have adrenal fatigue. In fact, if you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, like at 3 or 4 in the morning, chances are it's because your cortisol is dysregulated and your blood sugar has dropped too low, and so that is waking you up. Not over-exercising. A lot of people with adrenal fatigue, they're type A. They're like me, right? We just push it. And that's not what your adrenal glands need. They need exercise, of course, but gentle exercise, walking, yoga, not overstimulating your body. When your adrenal glands are fatigued, the focus and emphasis has to be on calming the body. The other thing to be mindful of is not consuming stimulants. And many people without acne, without insomnia, are able to drink a cup of coffee in the morning and be fine and have great circadian rhythms. But if you are sensitive, if your nervous system is sensitive, caffeine in coffee, in tea, even in chocolate can send your nervous system into a frizzy and completely disrupt your sleep. And in fact, this happened to me just a few months ago. I'd been having great sleeps. I'd been feeling fantastic, so fantastic in fact that I started eating chocolate, which is my favorite food, and it was over the holidays, so I'd make fantastic chocolate desserts. I'd have a bar of dark chocolate. I was eating a piece, at least one, maybe more, every day, and my sleep started to just fall apart. And at first, I wasn't willing to make that correlation until my sleep got so bad that I had a massive breakdown. And I realized that I couldn't even cut back on chocolate. I had to cut it out. And once I cut it out after a few days, I was back to sleeping really, really well. So it's real. Having a sensitive nervous system is real, and stimulants can throw it out of whack. If I have a cup of coffee, I will be up for 2 days. No joke. So really be mindful. If you have acne, if you want to get maximum beauty sleep and you're a sensitive person, stimulants might really be holding you back from getting that deep sleep. Okay, and then, the foundation of all of this is having a regular circadian rhythm. I mean, we know that diet's important for clearing the skin. We know that exercise, we know that supplements, but having a regular circadian rhythm is just as important as any of those things. That is why we're stimulating the vagus nerve. That's why we're healing the adrenal glands. And there's a few other things that you can do as well, just to ensure that your circadian rhythm falls into place. Number one, you want to avoid blue light for 3 hours before you go to bed. You can do this by shutting off your screens and dimming your lights at home, or by wearing blue blocker glasses. And this is because blue light waves hit the pituitary gland and suppress melatonin production. So if you're exposing yourself to blue light before bed, you are not producing melatonin, which means sleeping is going to be more difficult for you. You also want to expose yourself to full spectrum sunlight as early in the day as possible to shut down that melatonin production. You need a full day without melatonin production and a nighttime with lots of melatonin production in order to sleep deeply. And wearing an eye mask is a great tip because it blocks out all light, and I find that helps me tremendously. The other thing that goes along with, healing the adrenal glands is having a consistent bedtime schedule, and also, this is super important, a consistent waking up time. And I know you've heard this before. Be sure to go to bed and be asleep before you get that second wave, that cortisol spike that I was telling you about. Once you experience that second wave of energy at night, you are going to have difficulty falling asleep. So be in bed and asleep before that happens. These are just a few of my tips. And of course, I go into more detail in my 7-week Clear Skin program. We talk more about herbs that heal the adrenal glands, even more ways to stimulate the vagus nerve, and balance the circadian rhythm, because this is such an important part of healing the body. Beauty sleep is critical. I think if I would have slept more in my late 20s, 30s, and early 40s, my nervous system would be in much better shape. Do not let your insomnia get out of control. I think I permanently damaged my nervous system. So this is just my advice to you. Anyways, if you're suffering with acne, be sure to check out my 7-week Clear Skin program. It is here to help you. It's helped thousands of women from all over the world heal their acne by balancing their body from within, because acne is not a diagnosis, it's a symptom that there's something else going on in the body. It's my passion. I could talk about acne all day, and I do. Okay, so anyways, I'll let you go. I hope this has helped. Again, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. If you have any feedback, pop it in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye, guys.